It was something I never expected him to do. Wang Yibo whispered with a rare, boyish smile. That smile, soft, mysterious, touched with a hint of mischief, was enough to send the entire internet into a frenzy. But it was what followed next that completely shook fans to the core. In an exclusive interview aired late Sunday night on a quiet talk show that usually doesn't make headlines, Wang Yibo finally broke the silence on the most speculated topic in Asia: his secret marriage to fellow superstar Xiao Zhan, and more shockingly, what Xiao Zhan did the morning after the ceremony. The rumors had been swirling for years: subtle glances on red carpets, cryptic Weibo posts, matching rings that, accidentally, appeared on the same finger. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared fans for the quiet, elegant confirmation. According to Wang Yibo, the two had tied the knot in a secluded cliffside estate in Jeju Island, South Korea. There were no guests, no photographers, just cherry blossoms, wind chimes, and vows whispered into each other's ears. It was intimate, Yibo said. Just him, me, and the wind. But what followed after the ceremony is what stunned even the interviewer. At exactly 6:03 a.m., the day after their wedding, Wang Yibo woke up alone in bed. That in itself was strange. Xiao Zhan was known to be clingy in the mornings. He's a koala, Yibo laughed once in an older interview, but that day he was gone. I thought maybe he went to get breakfast, Yibo shrugged. But when he stepped into the living room, he found the entire villa locked from the outside. I was confused. Then I saw a letter on the coffee table addressed to my husband. I was terrified and excited all at once, he said. Inside the letter was a handwritten note. Asterisk, you gave me your heart, now let me give you the world. Follow the red string. Asterisk. Along with it was a small golden compass and a map marked with 3 points: the top of Halasan Mountain, the Jeju Cherry Blossom Trail, and a private beach labeled Our First Forever. Before Yibo could even process what was happening, a soft whirring filled the air outside. He ran to the balcony, and there it was, asterisk asterisk, a sleek black helicopter with a bright red ribbon on its propeller blades, asterisk asterisk. A note on its window read, "Seat reserved for Mr. Wang Yibo." The journey turned into a real-life fairy tale. At the top of Halasan, Yibo found a lone violinist playing their favorite tune, asterisk asterisk, Stay With Me. Beneath the bench was a box with a red silk scarf and a small silver key. At the second stop, the Cherry Blossom Trail, hundreds of red threads were tied between the trees, asterisk asterisk, each one attached to a photo of their most precious moments, asterisk asterisk. Backstage giggles, quiet dinners, handwritten notes, a teary selfie from a movie wrap-up. I walked slowly, just crying. I had no idea he had saved so many memories, Yibo admitted. Then came the final stop. By the time Wang Yibo reached the beach, the sun was setting. The ocean was dipped in orange and lavender hues, and soft instrumental music played from hidden speakers embedded in the sand. There, standing barefoot in an all-white linen outfit, was Xiao Zhan. No cameras. No publicists. Just him, holding another ring box. I already married you yesterday, Wang said, confused and overwhelmed. But Xiao Zhan just smiled and whispered, asterisk, yesterday I promised you my name. Today, I promise you my soul. Will you marry me again, every day for the rest of our lives? Asterisk. And then, just like that, he dropped to one knee again. In a move that could only be described as pure cinematic fantasy, Xiao Zhan led Yibo into the shallow waves, both of them fully clothed. The water lapped around their ankles as they stood face to face. There, they repeated their vows, only this time with their feet buried in wet sand and the sound of waves crashing behind them. I promise to annoy you with late-night ramen cravings, Xiao Zhan laughed mid-vow. And I promise to always pretend your cold hands don't shock me every winter, Yibo replied. Then, without warning, 100 drones lit up the sky, forming the words, asterisk, Forever YZ. Asterisk. The couple laid out on a floating platform just off the coast, covered in warm blankets, sipping plum wine, as a private fireworks show began. He timed it to music, Yibo revealed. It was our playlist, every song that mattered. From the first fan meeting we shared to the night we cried under the stars. There was even a brief moment during the show when a firework burst into a giant pink heart with both of their initials. And people still say he's not romantic. Yibo chuckled, clearly still in awe. Back at the villa, Yibo thought the surprises were over. But then Xiao Zhan pulled him toward a locked wooden door. Inside was a room filled with handwritten notes taped to every wall and ceiling, hundreds of them. Each one a whisper Xiao Zhan had written to himself over the years. Things like, asterisk, today he smiled at me longer than usual. Asterisk, asterisk, I think he knows. I hope he feels the same. Asterisk, asterisk, if he ever says yes, I'll spend my whole life thanking him. Asterisk. I stood there and couldn't stop shaking, Yibo said. This man, he didn't just love me. He lived it every day. Later that night, as they lay on the hammock under a million stars, Xiao Zhan pulled up his shirt slightly and revealed a small, simple tattoo near his ribcage. Read it, he said. Wang Yibo leaned in. It said, asterisk, Yibo, my home. Asterisk. He got it 2 years ago, Yibo said. And I never noticed. I lived with him, hugged him, slept next to him, and never saw it. Before falling asleep that night, Xiao Zhan reached for his phone and played something that had never been heard publicly. It was a soft piano ballad, his voice, raw and trembling, singing lyrics that felt almost sacred. Asterisk, if time rewinds, I'd still walk into that room where your eyes first met mine. Asterisk. Asterisk, if I lose fame, lights, and name, don't let me lose you. Asterisk. Yibo didn't say a word. He simply cried, arms wrapped around the man who had become his entire universe. Though Wang Yibo didn't reveal any photos or footage from the unforgettable day, his words alone were enough to trigger a global emotional meltdown. Weibo crashed within minutes. Forever YZ began trending in over 50 countries. Fans flooded social media with reaction videos, recreations, and art inspired by the story. Celebrities even chimed in. Bai Lu commented, "That's not a honeymoon, that's a cinematic masterpiece." Su Kai reposted the clip of Yibo talking, saying, "This is the standard. Anything less is unacceptable." When the interviewer asked what his favorite moment was, Wang Yibo didn't hesitate. "None of it," he said. "It wasn't the helicopter, the tattoo, or the fireworks. It was when I realized that this man, this soft-spoken, silly, brilliant man, had spent years quietly loving me, planning all of this not to show off, but to tell me, asterisk, I see you. I choose you. Forever. Asterisk, that's the moment I'll never forget." And as the interview ended, Wang Yibo looked directly into the camera, eyes glimmering, and said, "Asterisk, if you're lucky enough to be loved by Xiao Zhan, hold on tight. You've just met forever." When Wang Yibo thought the wedding day itself was the peak of his love story, he had no idea that Xiao Zhan had orchestrated a full post-marriage experience that would outshine the most extravagant dramas they had ever acted in. What Xiao Zhan did after their quiet cliffside ceremony in Jeju Island wasn't just romantic, it was mind-blowingly cinematic, deeply intimate, and designed to etch every second into Wang Yibo's soul. Let's pick up from where the world stopped breathing for a second, the vows in the ocean. After renewing their vows in the ocean, Xiao Zhan quietly took Wang Yibo's hand and led him to a part of the beach where the sand curved around a rocky bend. Nestled behind a large stone, obscured from view, was a hidden tunnel, lit by hundreds of tiny glowing lanterns. Wang Yibo paused. "I thought it was some secret cave, but it wasn't. It was a memory tunnel." As they stepped inside, every 10 steps revealed glass cases built into the walls, each displaying personal artifacts. The first hoodie Yibo ever lent Xiao Zhan, the wristwatch they accidentally matched in 2019, a dried rose from a bouquet Zhan had hidden behind his back after their first big fight and makeup. But the real kicker. Each artifact was accompanied by a recorded voice message from Xiao Zhan, softly playing in the background, whispering a story behind each object. Yibo said, "He recorded these in secret over the years. I didn't know he had saved everything. He never forgot anything, not even the tiny things I thought were meaningless." At the end of the tunnel, the final glass door slid open into a room that glowed golden. The walls were covered in handwritten promises, over 365 of them, written by Xiao Zhan over the course of their relationship. One read, asterisk, "I promise to let you sleep in, even when I'm excited to tell you something silly." Asterisk. Another. Asterisk, "I promise to always believe in you, even when the world forgets how to." Asterisk. In the center of the room was a blank journal titled, "The Rest of Us." Inside was only one line. Asterisk, write the next chapter with me? Asterisk. Yibo stood frozen. He wasn't just being romantic, he was building a future. He created this entire experience to ask me if I was really ready to live it. When they returned to the villa, completely drenched in nostalgia and emotion, Wang Yibo expected the day to be over. But no. At exactly midnight, the kitchen lights flickered on to reveal a famous Michelin-starred chef from France standing beside Xiao Zhan. The entire villa had been transformed into a moonlit dining area on the rooftop, overlooking the Jeju Sea. Zhan knows I love seafood and late-night food, Yibo laughed. So he told the chef, make a 7-course ocean-themed meal, and make it fun. Each course was paired with a mini-performance. For one dish, a local singer serenaded them with a jazz version of Light. Another course featured edible smoke in glass domes, revealing tiny hand-carved chocolate initials when lifted. It was like being in a luxury restaurant designed by your soulmate, Wang said. As the final course ended, Xiao Zhan extended a hand to Yibo and said only one word, dance. Without waiting, he tapped a small button on the wall, and suddenly, a light artificial rain began to pour across the rooftop. Soft rain. Warm rain. The kind that doesn't chill but refreshes like a baptism. They danced barefoot, in soaked white shirts, to the soft strumming of a live guitar player hidden behind the curtains. It was stupidly perfect, Yibo said. He told me he wanted us to start our marriage, washed clean of all fame, past, pain, or fear. Just two hearts, soaked in love. As they lay again on the hammock, staring at the sky, Xiao Zhan pointed upward and whispered, "Wait!" Suddenly, the stars rearranged, asterisk asterisk, not the actual stars, but a galaxy projector hidden in the garden asterisk asterisk. With perfect alignment, it formed a message. Asterisk, I would choose you in every universe. Asterisk. But then, a second message shimmered beside it. Asterisk, now turn around. Asterisk. Wang Yibo turned, confused, and found a single velvet box placed on the table beside the hammock. Inside it was not a ring, but a silver chain holding a key. Xiao Zhan said, "It's the key to the house I bought in New Zealand. On a quiet cliff. It's our escape. For when it gets too loud out here." The next morning, as the sun began to rise, Xiao Zhan finally confessed. "I've been planning this since before we even said, 'I love you.' I always knew, once you said yes to marrying me, I would make sure your first day as my husband was the most unforgettable day of your life." He had secretly worked with a travel team, architects, lighting designers, drone operators, chefs, and writers to build a real-life fantasy. Not for the media, not for fans, but for Wang Yibo's heart. And even more shocking, he didn't spend a cent from our joint account, Yibo said. He saved for this. 4 years. Quietly. Without ever making it feel like pressure. When the world sees Xiao Zhan, they see the idol, polished, poised, elegant. But what Wang Yibo discovered after their marriage was Xiao Zhan the dreamer. Xiao Zhan the planner. Xiao Zhan the man who loves fiercely, secretly, and completely. Asterisk asterisk. He didn't just marry me, Yibo said. He married the idea of us. He's been loving me in ways I never knew love could exist. And maybe that's what stunned the world most about this post-marriage reveal. It wasn't the fireworks, the helicopter, or the fine dining. It was how much love could be packed into the smallest, quietest details. It was a reminder that when love is real, it's not about being seen. It's about seeing the other person in a way no one else ever has. Stay tuned to Veil of K-Drama for updates, exclusive breakdowns, and emotional reactions as the story unfolds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because this miracle might just be real.